got some people on the hole over here. What is he doing with his arm? Oh, get that scratchy, 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 scratchy.
How you doing?
This kid's like, what's that dude doing? Eric's like, what are these dudes doing? It's all good.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We are out here at Peter Pan Park for another Masters Worlds course preview. Here are the divisions that are playing out here for Masters Worlds. I got Taco back with me once again. We're just gonna get right into this. There's no point in wasting any time. Let's just get right to the round. All right, hole number one is 312 feet. There's only one tee pad, but we are playing to the short basket placement. You got the baseball field here on the right side that's out of bounds. Left side, nothing is really out of bounds. You just got that tree creek line that kind of acts as a bunker, but it's not OB. It's a great left to right moving hole. I'm gonna throw a little dump hyzer over the fence here, and I believe Taco is gonna show you the left to right moving forehand shot. That'll work. Those cedars that I just hit down there is a great, like, aiming point. You just kind of throw into those and it drops, and it'll typically give you a putt if you don't have a left to right moving shot, which Taco is going to show us now.
Oh, there is that tree there that you just like want to miss. It's like the only thing that you want to miss, and I hit it. So
another option that we didn't really talk about is a roller. Roller plays really, really well on this hole because it just kind of naturally fights up that hill. Oh, left side, goodness.
okay, great putt by Eric there on hole one. Hole two, it's just right there up the hill. Definitely plays uphill. We've lost some trees on this hole, so there is some new gaps, especially to the right side for the big hyzer. For me, I can't really get there. Like, I'm looking to try to get like 60 to 70 feet. It just plays longer than 372 feet uphill. There is no OB on the hole. Over this bush line to the right, there is like natural OB in that, I guess, if you're in there, or if you're on the other side. Sorry, there is OB road long, but that's a mile out there. That'll happen. That's why they're there.
All right, as Taco said, that will happen. That tree is where I would say majority of the people miss on this hole. Is they try to go something flexy up this middle and they don't release properly, or just a little bit early, and they always hit that tree, which makes par really, really hard. And as Taco alluded to, this is a bonus birdie. So I don't mind this hyzer route, just getting yourself out there in the open and give yourself a couple 100 feet into the green, or 100 feet, however, depending on what your power is. I'll show you this hyzer line. That is in that hedgerow that Taco talked about. That is kind of Bunkerville. Not a bad shot from there. It's a relatively easy par. However, if you only want to pitch off like a couple 100 feet off this, just get around this brand new tree you see up here, and that approach into the green, play for par on this hole, and you'll be just fine. So as you guys can tell, this is very much so Bunkerville. However, getting up and down from here should not be that big of a problem. From here, you're probably not going to get the birdie, but you can just pitch it over and have a drop-in par. Hole number three, 297 feet. It is, in my opinion, probably one of the most birdieable holes out of your first three at least. After you play hole three, if you're under par or around par, you're gonna be just fine. I like to throw a mid-range in between the two massive trees on the right, kind of throw it at the one on the right and let it hyzer in front of. Pretty sure Taco is gonna show you guys the low forehand line because it is a fantastic left to right moving hole as well. Just like that.
Oh yeah, just like that. I typically aim at that V tree and then trust that it's going to hook up to the right. Yeah. All right.
Beautiful shot.
Money. 2 different ways, 2 different birds. Okay, hole 4, par 3, 387 feet. I love this hole. It's so tough. Getting to this point in the round, the first 4 holes is like, if threes is what you're getting, you should be happy. There's a Mando sign to the right. It shouldn't come into play, but Shanks will get you there. For a lot of people, this is a 2-shot hole, and I think that'll work just fine, because if you get to the shul to the left, I don't think there's OB over there, but it's natural OB just because, I mean, you can see how dense it is. And also high miss is this bush to the right, so just try to get it in front of that or to the right of it, and you should have an easy approach. Hit and sit, and that's just fine.
That bushy tree Taco was talking about has gotten so big over the years. I actually remember when it was planted, and it was non-existent at that point. Now it is so big, you got to get over the top of it. If you have a bigger arm, you can throw something hard and flat over it and then let it dump down. I would say majority of the people that miss on this hole end up left in that shul that Taco was referring to. And if you do land in it, if you're not far enough down the fairway, it's probably just a little forehand out, but there is no shame in a 3 on this hole at all. Like, that is too low. Too early. No. I'm in the shul on the left, but I did get far enough down there. I think I have a look. However, that got a little lucky.
All right, so this is the left side shul that we're talking about. As you can see, it gets a little sloppy over here. So just prepare yourself going into this side. Shul to the right as well, pretty nasty. This is, I think, a lot where a lot of people will land, just based on hitting the trees and dropping, and then of course over there, so. Just fine.
Hole number 5, 300 feet. This is a brand new tee. If you've been to Pan or you've seen videos at Pan, this is brand new. The tee pad used to be over here, and now it's over here. So the long tee is still in play. We're not playing it for Worlds though. This is the tee pad we will be utilizing. What happened on this is we used to have 2 holes here. It used to play 5, and then you'd walk back to this tee over here and play 6. But with the awkwardness of the walk back and flow issues, we decided to add another hole later on in the round to kind of fix those flow problems and turn this into 1 hole. So this is your short pin, that is your long pin, which used to be 6. One of the reasons that we did this as well is because of this creek line just keeps eroding more and more every time it floods. And these tee pads are getting relatively close to that. And for safety issues, we decided to push it over here. So in another 20 years, we may have to push it over a little bit more, we'll see. Anyway, about 300 feet, just right there, the only OB is on this right side, and the amphitheater up on the right is also out of bounds, but it does not come into play, should not come into play. For me, I just like to go a little turnover, straight flying mid, kind of right at this basket. I think Taco will probably do something similar, I'm assuming.
I like the forehand, it's wide open.
Forehand, even better, left to right, another left to right mover, so. Little high, little tree kick into the basket. No, okay, that works.
That needs to go.
So as I mentioned, you got the amphitheater back here that's out of bounds if you do happen to find yourself up there, which is a pretty errant shot. Anything down in this little bowl area gives you a putt. In this basket, there's really nothing crazy or guarded around it, so every putt on this basket is runnable. Especially when you miss high right and it falls and hits the cage and falls in. Those are the best.
On hole 6, it's a par 3, 351 feet. Man, this is a cool hole, very iconic. The pond is directly behind the basket, about probably 45 to 50. Going long is not great. A lot of people miss to the right over by the stairs over here. And that's like a decent look, but again, a 3 on this hole is nothing out of control if you're not throwing 350 or 300 plus. So There's also the high miss to the left. I think the main thing is if you cannot get to that basket, you just put it out in the middle and avoid this left tree line. So I'm gonna go big hyzer, trust something out to the right, have it skip back towards the basket. It's a bayonet. And that's inside the circle.
So as Taco mentioned, if you don't have 351, I personally feel the miss is down here on the right side, mainly because if you get going left, the 3 trees that kind of wrap around the basket act as a wall almost. So you could be 20 foot and really have to do this crazy little straddle putt around it because of how tight that area is. But I like to go fairway driver at the 2 trees with the stairs. The one on the left, I like to throw something hard and flat right at the middle of it and let it hyzer in, and there's a little gravel pathway, and if you hit that gravel, 90% of the time you get a skip, a little flare right to the basket. Okay, I missed the gravel because I went a little long, but that's fine because that's a putt for birdie.
Okay, so dang it, it's all right. As you can see, I'm probably 20 feet from the basket, maybe 15, and I do have a guarded putt. So practice some straddles while you're out here in Emporia because you'll need them. Good guardian.
So that's why I suggested that the miss is to the right side of the fairway on this, because if you look, the gap is more open on this side of the pin versus where Taco was on his. Short is also good, but as soon as you get pin high on that left side, this big tree gets in your way and really is just kind of like a round dampener almost, because you're gonna be close but not have a look. You gotta force something, so keep that in mind when you're playing. All right guys, hole number 7. The mid tee is what we're playing here, 304 feet. It is an island hole. It is the second most iconic island hole in Emporia for sure, next to hole 16 out at the Champs Landing. Must land on the other side of the wall. If you're not familiar with Monkey Island, years and years ago, there used to be monkeys that lived on it. This was all part of the zoo. There was a little chain link fence around the top of the wall, and it was like a moat. So it was like a 20-foot drop down with the water around it. And people would come and just check out the monkeys. It was pretty cool. I'm hearing when I was a kid, the monkeys were already gone, and it was basically just waterfowl like swans, ducks, geese, those kind of things. But now we have left the building, left the wall, made an epic island hole. If you do not make the island, if you are not inside that wall, you go to a drop zone, which is just short of the wall, which is a relatively easy up and down. There's no laying up on this hole. It's go or no, and it's probably, what, 200-ish feet to clear that wall. So it can be a power shot for a lot of players that are playing out here, but at the end of the day, it's just such an epic hole. Did not turn it. That left side is fine. You can miss further left than you think, so when you throw the disc up and you're hyzering out, there's more room on that left side than you think, so keep that in mind.
There was just silence there. I was hoping Eric would be like, hit a tree.
So as you can see, I really like the backhand here because it finishes on this left side where the wall is a little higher. You've got that opening in the wall over there that left or right moving shots have tendencies to hit and potentially skip or roll out. So just keep that in mind. Well, at least I gave it a chance.
298 feet. There is a second pin here. It's that pull to the right, but there's really no difference. I think this shot's actually a little harder. But anyways, you have a forehand line through the left gap. Obviously, the island that we were just on plays as OB. Eric, is it the road and beyond, or is it sidewalk and beyond on the right over here? Let's see what it says. that looks like road to me.
And beyond.
Definitely review your
Caddy book.
That's probably your official on this hole. So do not trust the tee signs per se, right? Reference only. Most shots are gonna be straight mid-range up the middle. The right side over here opens up a little bit for a low skipping hyzer. And of course, like I said, there's a forehand over here that you can kind of pitch up to. This is kind of one of those ones that you should get, but if you don't, no big deal. 3 will work out just fine.
All right, as Taco mentioned, this is kind of like it's not a must get, but it is one that you want to have an opportunity to get. The next 2 holes after this are also very, very gettable. So this is like turkey run almost, where a lot of times coming through there, if you're on your game, you can get all 3 of these holes going into arguably the hardest hole on the course, the Peninsula, which we'll see here shortly. Go in, guys. That's the line. I don't know what Taco is thinking, trying to go through this big gap. You split that tiny gap on the left and you're guaranteed to have a putt for birdie.
Yeah, world champs don't hit trees, so
I'm just kidding, that was a terrible shot that ended out pretty good. Nice shot, Taco. Lucky shot, Eric. Let's go get these next 2. Hole number 9, 232 feet to the long pin. Straight ahead, there she is. There is a little sidewalk that kind of comes in front of the basket and goes behind it. That's just, it's not even casual, it's just there. It's not OB, it's not anything. You don't get relief, it's just there. It's inbounds, it's in play. Typically, we do the road and beyond on the right. That's because the sidewalk used to end. You know that book where the sidewalk ends? Right here is where it ended. That's where he, yeah. As Taco mentioned on the hole before, just make sure you check out your caddy books and see if it's the sidewalk or the road. Either way, it's just a low little shot. There is a forehand. I used to always go forehand over the backside of Monkey Island on this hole. And if you miss that big bush that's kind of by that concrete bench, then you're golden. I mean, you're parked every single time. For me now, I just take a little putter, go down this right side, and hope I get a birdie. Birdie.
The only trouble here, I feel like, is you're clearing the island hole again on hole 7, the Monkey Island hole. So just give your disc the trust in the hair and don't hit anything. The hair. Just throw the disc, dude.
There it was.
Hole 10, par 3, 215 feet, Mando tree on the right to protect you from going towards the road area and there's houses. Also have the pond creeping up on the left. I think a lot of people, based on the distance, are just gonna do like a backhand putter shot straight. I like throwing the forehand because if you go too long on the backhand, you're hyzering back towards water, and the forehand's miss right keeps you pretty decent distance away from the OB road still. So I'm going I'm going spur. It's a spur. 9 speed. Here we go. And that's fine. It's a little short, but finished right. Eric's going ace run.
This is a hole I like to run at just because if I do happen to miss, these are all cypress trees on the right. They're bald cypress and they have this root system that kind of grows up through them, through the ground here. And a lot of times, if you miss, you'll get lucky and hit one of those. So from this tee, I like to just give this an ace run because even if I miss and go in the water OB, it's a 12-footer for par. And at the end of the day, you do want to birdie this hole, but I mean, par is not going to ever kill you. And neither will a birdie.
Okay, there is a little death just beyond the basket, so it kind of looks like a death putt, but easy comeback. So just hit some metal. Or dead center it.
Hole number 11 is one of my favorite holes out here. It's the Peninsula hole, 298 feet, few different ways you can play this hole. The real play here, as Taco will show you, is a forehand that plays around to the short basket on the right, and then you just pitch over, and if you have an opportunity for birdie, you can get it. OB in the water, obviously, and the water comes up quick behind it. I'm gonna show you guys what not to do. So that went long OB, that's how quick that OB comes up. If you go OB like I did, you go immediately to the drop zone, which is at the end of the peninsula. Taco, show us what you're supposed to do on this hole.
All right, I go over stable disc, hopefully finishing out to the right. Kind of trusting it at the basket, and then I hook up.
Ooh,
That's safe. I'm touching land, sir.
touch land, baby.
A little bit more left than I wanted, but still safe. All right, today I'm in bounds, but more than likely, there's gonna be an OB line over here.
There will definitely be
So this will be a close call either way, but I would imagine they'll come up a little bit and then take that OB line all the way down around and then just on the other side. So decent little putt for birdie here.
Ooh, you almost landed
three
in
is
the
fine.
backpack.
This is kind of like small straight can happen, 2, 3, or 4. So 3's fine.
Agreed. This is the sweeter landing spot up here by the short pin. That way you can putt all the way down the peninsula without fear of going OB. So,
Thanks, dudes. All right, hole 12. This is technically the mid pad. This is gonna be a par 3, 327 feet to the basket directly in front of us. Danger on this hole, obviously, is the pond is still on our left side, and the pond kind of comes in just behind those bushes to the left of the basket. There is wire cable up here to the right, and that will also be playing out of bounds. A lot harder to get to. The miss here is missing to the right. So I'm gonna throw something that's gonna turn to the right. Okay, Mockingbird, here we go. Oh my goodness.
I loved everything about it.
That was really good. Kind of got a late air bounce though.
So just throw something that is gonna turn right for you. That's probably just about pin high. That's a putt, and you can run this putt if you're at a certain part of the green. If you're short or kind of on that short right side, you can run it, or anything left you can run as well. But if you get pin high, those bushes, right behind those is the water, so.
There's the pond. There's the driver birdie. Next.
Hole number 13 is 391 feet, and it plays more like 420-ish feet, I would say, because it's not severely uphill, but it is uphill. You got these massive cottonwood trees on the left side. Anything that hyzers into them, you're either pitching out, throwing a little roller approach. The miss on this is to the right. Miss right, because if you're on the right side, you have an open look into this green.
Oh, buddy.
Be far enough. That's so far left. That's okay though. I mean, I think I'm in the cedar. I think I got far enough that it should be all right. But pars are good on this hole.
That's too much drift right. But good grief, that went far. That's the miss though. I'll have a look.
That's a great shot. So I went a little long, fellow Deeds. And as you can tell if you're in here, there can be a putt, but there can also be a really easy pitch out, which I think is a smarter play if you just pitch it out and then give yourself the guaranteed par. As we're here, if I putt and miss and hit that branch in front of me, then I'm struggling to save par. But I hit the gap.
All right, hole 14, par 3, 275 feet. This is definitely a lefty or forehand friendly hole. I typically try to aim out to the left substantially, trusting that the hill is going to pull it back down to the right. Wire cable on the right is going to be out of bounds. There's also property line on the right up there that will also be out of bounds. I don't know how far in they're going to take this line. Sometimes they have it to like the basically the shoal edge on the backside, and I would say that's probably 30 to 35 feet. I'm gonna throw the forehand line. Just keep a little food for thought here. These, the last hole, this hole, and the next few holes are affected more heavily by the wind out here because there's not as much to block it. Still really good holes. You still have to throw good shots. Warbird, here we go. Oh, that's too tight. I might have got lucky, but that could be out of bounds.
I don't think it's out of bounds.
All right.
There's no way that's out of bounds.
Natural, maybe natural
cedar,
OB. Yeah.
But I do like to go forehand here as well a lot of times because it's short enough, but it's a headwind and we got a little more breeze today, and I'm not a big fan of throwing forehands in any kind of wind. I'm not a fan of throwing forehands with no wind. So when there is wind, no, I'm gonna go putter turnover. The big tree you see on the left of the pin is only like 15 feet. So that's a good reference point on where you want to land.
Gross.
Big turnover, EMAC Judge.
Yeah, that felt good. What about that one? What about this one? Oh.
Only the first and last one.
That warbird, yeah. It's a make sandwich.
Hole number 15, we are playing long tee. Tee sign's a little off in my opinion. Well, first it says par 3. For the tournament for Masters Worlds, it will be a par 4. Distance says 488, and it might be 488 as the crow flies. However, all these trees in the middle make this hole play more like 500 feet. For me, those trees are a massive bunker. So a great way to play this hole is throw at the tree gap on the right side, or the left side rather, and hyzer out. Be out in that field somewhere probably 20 to 30 feet left side of that tree line. And the reason for that is it gives you an open shot into the green. There will be a fairway divider on the left side as well that plays straight out the tunnel and comes back here around the tee. So if you go too far left, you're gonna find OB, but it's quite a ways over there. You gotta kind of struggle to find it on this hole. I personally think the OB on this fairway divider comes into play more on the next hole. I'm gonna go fairway driver just out this left side to kind of try to land in a spot that I think is a good location to land in to attack the green. That's a little farther left than I want. That will be inbounds. That's actually not too bad. From there, if you're a righty, you do have a big hyzer into the green. The key is to get far enough past these first few trees to have a look at the green, but not go too far left.
I'm gonna get a little bit more aggressive, but I'll still probably end up finishing out to the left. So I'm gonna go bayonet on a big anhyzer line and commit to it. See how far I get. Missed that.
What a shot.
Let's go. Probably still like 80 short though.
One thing I also forgot to mention is this right side tree line is OB all the way down, and so is that tree line long all the way down. So this hole is daunting as a par 4.
Yeah.
All right guys, so my tee shot actually went a little further past the actual landing zone where I think a lot of players are gonna land. So I'm just gonna throw one from here so you get an idea of how tight this looks and the shot shape you gotta have from here. From here, I think it's just something point and shoot directly at it. You do have a little spike over the top, but keep in mind that OB on the left side comes into play relatively fast. And there's a cedar down there that's pin high. The OB line will hit that cedar and go back to the left. So that cedar is gonna be in bounds, but it's gonna act as a bunker, but it'll help kind of stop your disc if you're going too far left, if you get the distance right. That's all you want. Little point and shoot right up there.
Wow.
Easy
Great
birdie,
touch.
guys. Easy birdie.
Yeah, this is definitely one of my best drives on the hole. If you look right here, dude, I'm 40 feet from like potential doom, right? So it's not very, it's a low percentage shot. Let's just say that. But I'm gonna try to hit this eagle, also low percentage. We'll see what's up. Oh yeah, come on, drop in it. Can't say I didn't want it. Eric's like 10 feet, and this is the cedar that he was talking about. and the line will literally come to just behind my foot, so 12 feet. But easy birdies for both Eric and I.
Birdies.
Next hole. Hole 16, new hole here after the pull from old hole 6. So this is a par 3, 327 foot straight to right, or left to right finishing hole. This is the OB on the left that we're gonna see up here coming this way, kind of like, I guess, adjacent to hole 15. It's like a lefty friendly hole. This low ceiling makes it really tough for righties to get there. If you're crazy and you still throw over the top, there's that shot. But I'm gonna try to throw a fairway driver just because it plays 340 to 350. That could finish OB, I think. But
that is probably right on the line.
yeah, it's
where
close.
OB will be.
It's closer than what I want it to be.
Yeah, kind of like that. It's a little long, I think, but I'm happy. I'm happy.
Okay, I'm about 35 feet. Eric and I were talking. We think it's going to be to circle 2 to the OB on this side. So should be fine. But that gap, if you don't commit, you will definitely hyzer towards the OB. So here we go. Take it. Do it again. Nope.
What a birdie. Hole number 17 is another brand new hole due to the change up on 5 and 6. It is playing to the original hole 17 basket, which used to tee off over on this right side. It was a blind shot back then that played down to the right. And now I just love this hole so much. It's framed up on these 2 trees. The basket sits right in the middle of them. The only OB to speak of is the tree line long, and it is pretty tight up there. So if you go past this basket, you could find OB relatively easy, which is what I really, really like about this hole. It is a downhill shot, plays slightly downhill, so it is relatively easy to get to this green. I like to throw something pretty stable out to this right side, whether that's a fairway driver or a mid-range, and get a little skip up to the pin. I personally like to come up just a little bit short on this hole, or try and finish pin high left. That gives you the best putt option for your birdie. I have seen if you come up really short on these 2 trees, you're looking at like a 40, 50 footer, and it slopes down to that OB. So keep that in mind. If you have a longer look, there's a lot of action on this green. Just a nice stable mid to the right, sit down. That came in a little hotter than I was hoping. However, I'm 80% sure that I'm in bounds on that play. That's the angle you want, more of a flat skip coming in. If you throw something high speed on more of an edge, you're probably gonna get that flare and then have tendencies to roll OB.
Stable fairway, Mad Cat, out to the right, like Eric said, keep it lower. Skip in. Oh!
Okay, as you can tell, this slopes severely down to the OB, so my shot, while it looked like it came in a little short and was good, I did get a pretty good skip or roll and put myself about 30, maybe 25. Taco did get the big flare skip in front of the chains, and he's looking at like a 45 footer. So a good reference point are those 2 trees that we talked about earlier. If you just try to kind of skip at the one on the right, I think you're gonna have a better opportunity at checking up close to this basket.
Hole 18, real quick. Boom! One of my favorite holes on the course. I love throwing ace runs, and in my opinion, this is like one of the best ones on the course because not a lot of danger. I mean, there is some jail to the right. There's definitely going to be some OB on this right side here. And then you have the parking lot up to the left. And I'm not sure if they are going to do a OB line high up there or not. I would imagine not because
There will be an OB line up on that left side that protects the practice area.
Okay, perfect. So there is going to be OB line left, but I think it's far enough up there where if you want to play up to that side or miss up to that side, you should be okay. And if it finishes up there, that's a putt, probably about 20 to 25.
That tends to happen a lot on this hole, where it looks like it's gonna be an ace and then it's not.
No problem.
All right, guys, there you have it. Peter Pan Park. The divisions playing out here for Masters Worlds are below as earlier. Pan is one of my favorites, man. It's one of my all-time favorite courses, one of my favorite designs. It's just such a great park-style course. I'm stoked to have people in town, as I've mentioned in the previous videos. We do have, what, 2 courses left? We've got Boyce Bumgardner and Jones West. We're gonna do our absolute best to get those done as well. The biggest problem we're gonna have is we were fighting this round because there's some weather coming in, and we're hoping that weather pushes out so we're able to knock out the rest of these rounds. Taco, you got anything?
No, man, keep watching, keep subscribing.
Appreciate you guys. See you on the next one.